Hey guys, how you doing? I had to change my starter on my 2010 Toyota FJ Cruiser. So I went off-roading and got into some water and got stuck, and I had to get it pulled out. And definitely flooded the inside of the car a little bit. So I had to strip that out and dry it out and then put it back together and got my car detailed. So it looks really super clean inside now. But about 3 weeks later, as I was reading some forums and some videos, people said that's the problem. My starter started acting up. In the beginning, it would start a little bit and would give me fits, and I knew there was something wrong, so I went and got a new battery, and it wasn't the battery. I was hoping it was the battery. So then come to find out, all I could hear was a little click noise. It just click. And I figured that was the starter. And as I was reading the forums, people have had this kind of problems before where they got in some water and it killed the starter. And the reason it killed the starter, I'm going to take you guys over here and show you. If I can find my old starters. So this is my original starter, and my car only has 60,000 miles on it. But if you can see, I think the water gets in through these little vents. So that's the problem that we have with our Toyotas. And the being a pain in the ass of removing it is an understatement. It's terrible. It took me about 7-8 hours to try to take off this bolt right here, and the one right here on the side at the bottom. Actually, it's right here. So 2 bolts, one at the top, one at the bottom. The problem is everything's just so compact and in a way that you can't really get to it. I only saw like 2 videos online, so that's why I'm thinking of posting this one. But I bought another starter off of LKQ on eBay. I think dealer wanted like $300 for it. O'Reilly's wanted like $140. So I went on the eBay and found one for, this one came out for 2014, and it only had like 60,000 miles on it. 30, I think it had 34,000 miles on the starter. So I got it in the mail, but this plastic component was broken when they took it off. So I had to return this one, and see this plastic piece right here. So it was broken, so I couldn't install this one. So the only problem about ordering parts on eBay, you have to wait for it versus just having it available to you. Thankfully, I have 2 cars, so it wasn't a big deal if I parked my FJ for a little bit. But I finally returned this one. They told me to keep it and get rid of it or recycle it somehow. And I ordered another one from LKQ on eBay, which came off a 2018 4Runner, and only had like, I think it said 4,000 miles on it. So it was a brand new starter, and I got it for like $70 versus $300 at the dealer that you'll pay, or $140 at O'Reilly's. So from reading online, the best way to get to it is definitely from the side. You take the wheel off, you lower this shield down. These are bolted in or screwed in, so you take this off so you have the access to here. And the only reason you want the access to here, just so you can I had to take this shield off. Then this is the cables to it. There's a bolt here, there's a nut here, and then more the plastic electrical component. Let's see if I can, there we go. So it's kind of hard to get to. That's what I'm trying to get to, you guys. And there's another one at the ground right here that you have to take off. So everything's really compacted here, and it's hard to get to. I think I saw a video where a guy in Australia tried to take it off from the side, and he didn't have this thing here, so it was easier for him to just pull it out through here. But the problem I ran into is unscrewing these 2 bolts. So there's this bolt here, and there's one on top over here. I don't know if you can see my finger. It's right here on top. So I struggled with it for half a day trying to get it from the side. It's just, there's no room. And then I read, I think it was on forums, that it's the best thing to do is go underneath the car, right here and take this drive shaft off, because this is the 2 screws that you want to unscrew. You have one right here, then you have one over here. The problem is there's just, if you look at my finger, there's just a little bit of room that you can get to. So it's so hard, and these bolts are bolted on so hard that you need that torque to pop them off. Once you pop pop it loose, the first initial turn, they come out easy, but you need that torque. And if you have a ratchet, it's so hard to do. Let me see if I can show you here. So when you take this drive shaft off, this bottom one becomes much easier because you have so much room. Because before, I was just trying to work with this right here, all this small little area, and you just couldn't pop the torque. Didn't have the torque that you need. And then here at the top, as you can see, it's a struggle. So you get it on, but you only have this much room to deal with, and it's almost impossible to take it off. And good thing, I'm glad I read somewhere that you need to take the drive shaft off, and it's not hard. You just take 4 bolts out and then it comes off. And I also end up going to the store and buying this little tool. It helped me to get that initial torque and pop it off, and then I could use the ratchet. So yeah, it's very hard to come off. And putting on too is not fun. Honestly, if I knew it, I'd probably give it to a friend of mine that has a body shop, and he would have done it for me. But because I'm a nurse and I'm always busy, so it's hard for me to find time to do it. But and it takes so much of your time to do. So you definitely, when you're changing the starter, you need good 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours when you know what you're doing. So remember to remove the drive shaft. You have plenty of room, and don't try to unscrew it from the side. Just get underneath the car and just work underneath the car, just because it's just so much easier. But then you do need access from the side to unplug things, to unscrew things. So it's a good idea to do both. So as I was showing about the vents on the starter, that I think the water gets in, so I kind of compromised and came up with my own idea here. So I bought 2 hoses at the your auto parts store, and I connected a hose to this first vent right here and kind of used gasket sealer to sealer around it. And then I connected another hose. I don't know if you could see it. It's like right here underneath. Right here, this is another hose. And I put the all the way up here and here. So this is my vents now. That way they're up higher and out of the way, and hopefully water doesn't get into it before if I get in any water. So I'm gonna try it out, because I've read other places where people put silicone in them and seal them off, and I felt like there's those vents for a reason. The starter does get hot on your initial turns, so I'm gonna try that, and if it doesn't work, then I'm not gonna replace the starter myself again. It just takes too much time and hard work. But when I took it off, took me, those bolts off, took me a couple minutes to take them off, and it was not fun. But once I did take them off, I was reading online. Some guys said pull the starter out from the side. Some say pull it off from the bottom. Some said pull it up from the top. And I tried every single way possible to get it out, and I couldn't, because here this gets in the way. Underneath, there's just not enough room between the drive shaft where it initially hooks onto. You just can't get it out. And from the top, you have this shield that gets in the way, and I'm afraid even if I take the shield off, it still won't have enough room between these two. There's just not enough room for the starter's big, and you do not want to start messing with the exhaust, because they're so rusted. And if you start break something or crack something, or just strip a bolt, you got exhaust leak on your car, and it's just a whole bag of problems that you unleash. So what I did, I had these tubes out of the way, the brake tubes, and what we did with my friend actually, we took this upper control arm, took this bolt off, this nut, and then we hammered this bolt out to about halfway, and when we hammered it halfway, this gave us give to pull this upper control arm back and gave me enough room to pull it out from the side here. So that's the only way you can do it on my car. And I don't know, maybe the other ones that I saw on that they pulled out from the side, I know one didn't have the this here, the steering wheel, and the other one, I think they say they pulled it from the side, but they had a much smaller aftermarket starter. So that could be it. But the only way I could take it out is taking this nut off, knocking this bolt back inside about halfway, and pulling on this upper control arm, and it came off easily through the side. I mean, it took me a little while to figure that one out. So hopefully this will help somebody. And also just don't forget to, when you're taking this upper control arm bolt off, jack up over here underneath so it doesn't just collapse. Unfortunately, you'll have to do alignment on it, but I have lifetime alignment, so that doesn't bother me because I take it off-roading. And yeah, hopefully this will help somebody, because when I was looking at how to do things and try to figure out the best way to do it, I only found like 2 videos. So I'll probably post it, and hopefully it'll help somebody. But thank you guys. And I started it, works perfectly fine.